Hi there guys, welcome to Box Bread. The first fight I'm going to look at for this weekend is going to be the big fight between Sergio Martinez and Miguel Cotto, which is happening at Madison Square Garden in New York, USA. So I'm picking Sergio Martinez to win this fight by a decision. Now there are many factors going into this fight that have kind of thrown things around a bit. And I've actually spoken to a few people who are actually picking Miguel Cotto to win this fight. The big question mark clearly in this fight, for me, seems to be: has Martinez slipped? Is he on the slide? How are the injuries affecting him? And is that going to be enough of a slide for Cotto to get the win? Let's first of all look at Martinez. So that's the big main question mark. After his last fight against Martin Murray, I thought he looked particularly poor by his standards. I thought he lost the fight. I thought Murray beat him, but he got the decision. But you will remember, if you saw my videos after that, my post-fight, that I was questioning seriously whether he was on the slide, because normally you can give excuses for fighters. You can make some sort of an excuse as to why they may not be on the slide, but I was pretty convinced that he was. And with his age and with the injuries he's had, the surgery on the knee, with the game he has, which relies on a lot of movement, and in this fight that will be key for him against this particular opponent. That has to come into question. You have to question the fact, are his knees going to hold up? Is his body going to hold up? Is it going to fail him? He's been down in his last 3 fights. Okay, Macklin had him down, Murray had him down, and Chavez Jr. had him down late in that fight. So he can be put down, and this is something that Cotto will look to exploit. Cotto, as I'll go on to look at Cotto, we'll see what his chances are, but he will take encouragement from the fact that Martinez has been down in his last 3 fights. Even though he's gone and won those fights, he's looked vulnerable to a certain degree. Still, let's not forget that his only losses, Martinez's only losses, were way back in 2000, where he got stopped by Antonio Margarito, and the majority decision loss he had to more recently against Paul Williams, which many people felt he won. And then he had the rematch and he actually knocked out Paul Williams. So, he's still pretty much an unbeaten fighter in recent times. He's still one of the best out there until proven wrong. Like I said, I thought Murray beat him in the last fight, but it was still a relatively close fight. He's still a formidable force. He's still a really good athlete. He's got great movement, great speed. He throws brilliant straight punches. In my opinion, he's a better straight puncher than Cotto. He's better at distance than Cotto, and that's why I think his movement game will play a key factor in this. If he can stay mobile and away from the ropes, and if he can dictate that distance, I feel that Cotto will have no answers, and it'd be very difficult for Cotto to establish any kind of grounding in the fight. And also, Cotto is not going to be defensively gifted in this particular fight, for reasons I'll mention later, in my opinion. Martinez is the bigger fighter. We saw the weigh-in. Martinez is, he came in 1/4 of a pound below the catch weight, I believe, whereas Miguel was way below, and he looked so much smaller than Martinez. He's shorter. He just doesn't look. Martinez is the bigger guy, so he will take heart from that he will be the bigger guy in there. He can maybe, if it does get a bit rough, he might back himself to actually be able to hold his own, and trying to impose his physicality on Cotto as well. And let's not forget, in recent times he's fought a guy who was bigger than him in Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. well documented to come in at a far higher weight than he's fighting at, and he still schooled him for pretty much the whole fight. Okay, he got caught at the end by Chavez Jr., but he thoroughly outclassed the guy, boxing wise. And I see this could go a similar way. If Martinez is on his game, I don't give Cotto much of a chance. But the chance Cotto has is brought in by this question mark over whether Martinez will be at his best or whether he will show further signs of deterioration. And my final point on Martinez really is that he has had time out to recuperate. He hasn't fought for a while now. He's had some time out since the Murray fight, and he has had time to heal a bit. So I think he'll come in and he'll be sharp. I think he'll be sharper than the Murray fight, and I think that he'll actually, he's got a point to prove as well. He's not happy with the demands that Cotto's made. He's not happy with the whole way this fight has been advertised, and he's kind of like the champion, but sort of he's been treated like the challenger in many ways. And he wants to prove a point here, so he will have venom, and I think that he will really, be gunning for Cotto in this fight. I mean, he does have a distaste for Cotto. We saw that in the face-off, and I think that will fuel the fire that will give him, a real competitive edge. And it's healthy to have a real goal, a real thirst for this victory, which is something that Martinez needs. Moving on to Cotto. His victory over Rodriguez to me is neither here nor there. I don't see this great comeback some people talk of. I don't really understand that. Before that, he lost. To be fair to him, though, he did lose to two very good fighters in Mayweather and Trout. Two pretty good technical guys. Martinez is of a similar ilk. He's elusive. He's speedy. He's a guy who is technically more gifted than Cotto, and I feel that's why I feel it could go the same path as those. Unlike some, I don't feel that the Cotto Mayweather fight was competitive. Whereas I felt the Maidana Mayweather fight was competitive, I genuinely felt that he had Mayweather in some degree of trouble in that fight. I never once felt in the Cotto fight that Mayweather was not in complete control. I don't fall for the whole on the ropes business. I feel he was in control the whole time, and I don't think Cotto. I never thought that Cotto was going to cause, had him in any major trouble. First of all, let's just briefly mention the advantages for Cotto. He's been making demands, and this is his home stomping ground, Madison Square Garden. He's going to have a ton of fans there turn out to see him. Every punch he lands is going to be roared. People are going to cheer every punch. Bear that in mind if you're looking at this fight, because if it's close for any reason, then you could see Cotto getting a nod, because he's going to be, the judges may be swayed by the crowd, and that home advantage may push him on that extra 10%. Particularly if what I think he's going to do is, which he's going to try and cut off the ring against the more skilled opponent. He's going to perhaps have that extra, push to move forward and be aggressive. What will be very interesting for me is I'm not sure what the ring size is for this fight. I would imagine with the demands Cotto's been making, he'll have quite a small ring, because the smaller the ring, the better for Cotto. Martinez wants a larger ring. He's the mover in this fight. Cotto wants to cut off the ring. So it'll be very interesting to see. If you do know, please drop me a line on this video what the ring size for this is going to be, because that would be quite interesting to see. Looking now, a fighter to me who makes a lot of demands, particularly as far as weight is concerned, if they stipulate a particular catch weight and all this business about wanting to come into the ring first, to me this shows an instability mentally in Cotto. It shows me that he realises he's really up against it from a boxing perspective. He realises that this guy is likely better than him, and he's just trying to gain every little advantage he can to try and make this as equal as possible. So he's trying to claw back some sort of advantage, any advantage he can get. And I don't like it when fighters do that, because that tells me they lack a little bit of confidence. That tells me they really know who is the favourite for this fight. And I don't like the changing of trainers. Cotto was with Diaz. I thought Diaz was a good trainer. Now he's with Roach. I think he's searching for answers that just aren't there. And I question Cotto's mental stability. I really do. I question where he's at. He's a little bit all over the place for me. I question his confidence and in his own ability. Why go for all these demands? He's up against a bigger guy in there. He's going to be way bigger on the night. I mean, Martinez is going to weigh more than the 158 3/4 pounds. I'll tell you that. He's used to fighting more at higher, and I think that, you know, being the smaller man, he's going to find it difficult, particularly going late into the fight, perhaps. So those things of instability really niggle at me with where Cotto's concerned. I feel that being trained by Roach, he's really looking in this fight for someone who's teaching him to cut off the ring. He doesn't need to be taught; he knows how to cut off the ring. But, you know, to really hone his skills, to really perfect those skills, and peak them going into this fight, so he can cut off the ring to the best of his ability, and he can throw the body punches. He's going to be looking to throw body punches on Martinez. He's looking to hurt him. He's looking to basically cut the ring off, pressurise the guy, and catch him. And he's looking for an offensive trainer, and Roach is one of the best in the game at that. But Roach is not really good on defence, so Cotto is going to be open at some point, in some points, and I think the straight punching of Martinez, don't be surprised if he hurts Cotto and busts him up a bit. If he's on form, I could see Martinez stopping Cotto later on in the fight, because if he's on form, he throws brilliant straight punches, great straight right hand, or is it left hand? I can't remember. But either way, he busts you up. You know, there's no escape. And Cotto's far more of a wide a hooker. He wants to get up close. He needs to get up close to do his best work. So he wants to close distance. Martinez wants to keep distance in this fight. I'm banking on Martinez looking a lot sharper than he did in his last fight. The question mark is over the injuries. If he's not to the best of his ability, this will be very competitive, and you could see, if it's close, Cotto getting a nod. But I'm going for Sergio Martinez to look a bit sharper. I'm looking for him to win the fight by decision, and I fancy him a lot in this fight. So enjoy the fight, guys. Let me know what you think, and please do let me know about the ring size if you do know. I'm out.